Yo, what up guys, it's Flark, and welcome to my definitive guide for Frosty K PvP in Dragonflight Season 1. This goes over everything. Months of theorycraft and experimentation led to this. This is going to be your weapon type, rune forges, trinkets, gearing, enchants, tier set, talent builds, two-handed versus dual wield, the talent builds for each. It's going to go over literally everything, comps, even rotation. To get you in the best place possible for any form of PvP. That's solo, shuffle, 2s, 3s, whatever. I know Frost is a little underrepresented right now, and that's because when the survivability nerfs hit DK, they hurt Frost a lot more than they hurt Unholy, because they gave them the same nerf, but Unholy has more healing. Unholy has healing from necrotic wounds, and Unholy has healing from blood plague. And Frost does not have healing from either of those sources, and it also has to stay in. Unholy can get out a little bit more and still pressure people, while Frost has to stay in and be in melee range, swinging melee hits on them to get pressure. So Frost was just hurt a lot more from that, and as a result I really hope that they look at this and look at the representation and understand that while those nerfs do seem like they needed to be done for Unholy, perhaps Frost got hit by them too hard and needs either a PvP talent or a reversion of some of the Death Strike nerfs so it can stay in, because right now it heals for less than healing classes do passively, like DH or Fury with self-healing, that's passive. Frost heals for less than that, even though it needs it more, because it has to stay in more and it has to sacrifice damage to do it. So if they ever watch my videos and they just don't understand why is nobody playing Frost, you know, it seems like it would still be good, and Unholy is still good. That's why Frost is missing some survivability that Unholy has, while it requires more because it has to stay in more. But either way, you can see I haven't played Frost in a while, still number 3 in solo shuffle. You can absolutely push. This would get you legend right here easily, and I haven't played it in a while. You can absolutely push legend in solo shuffle. You could be one of the highest Frost EKs. Remember, it's spec specific, so actually you're competing with lower ratings than you would be competing with Unholy. You can still push rating there. You can still push rating in 3s. It's a little rough in 2s right now, but absolutely 3s and RBGs. It does ludicrous damage, so you shouldn't have a problem doing disgusting goes there, and we'll talk about everything you need to know. So this is going to be definitive. This is the good stuff, so let's get right into gear. Gearing, we're going piece by piece right now, and I'm going to show you everything that you can get. This is going to be locked in. When I say definitive, I don't mean any question marks anymore. I'm going to give you the answers that you're looking for. So you're going to start with the crafted pieces in Furious. That's going to be boots and the helmet. The boots give you CC reduction, and the helmet gives you some backlash, some thorns effect when you take damage. And yeah, you take a lot of damage. You don't use as much damage as Unholy does, but you're still cranking when you stay in, and you can still do damage outside of goes with enduring strength and bone grinder. So you want to be able to stay in, and when you can, this is just going to get even better. But in between goes, this just adds pressure. During goes, it counter pressures a little bit, and of course it's a free conquest piece, so you get both of the Infurious pieces right there. Then you're going to grab the tier set. The tier set is very good for Frost. Let's hover over it real quick. I have the 2 set right now. You're going to get 4. Obliterate and Frost Scythe critical damage. This is pretty much every single effect of Obliterate. It's always going to crit. So it's always going to do more damage during Pillar. And then getting more killing machines from that 4 set is just fantastic because it gives you more damage, but it also gives you more ice cap. So it gives you more damage, and then it gets into your big damage faster. So it's just super synergistic with what we want to do. And again, if they fix our survivability, this will just perfect. I mean, it's perfectly what we want to do with this 4 set. Stay in, fast goes, big hits. It's got everything. So yes, our 4 set is amazing. Yes, we will be running it. And here's the pieces you get it on: legs, gloves, chest, and shoulders. You can see I'm still missing a few right now, but I'm not waiting another 2 months to make this video, considering how many questions I get in my Discord and in my stream and on my comments. So I got to make the video now. You can see that I have 2 set, but I'm looking for 4 set on shoulders, chest, gloves, legs. Those are the 4 pieces. Again, crafted, helm, and boots. Then for dual wield weapon, You're going to have Razor Ice and Fallen Crusader. For a two-handed weapon, it is going to be a choice between Razor Ice and Fallen Crusader, and we have to pause with that right now because we have to talk about it more in the talent section. But I know you were going to talk about you were going to be like, wait, you didn't talk about weapons in the gear section. That's really a talent build sort of thing, so stay tuned. As for trinket, insignia. I know this is very, very new. We've generally had those badge goes with the 1 minute pillar, but now our pillar is not 1 minute anymore. So it's actually better to have the more uptime on alacrity because it is more likely to link up with multiple pillars, and badge will never really have a chance of doing that because you're not going to hold it the whole minute. The whole point is to desync it with their defensive cooldowns. So you want to bring that pillar cooldown down, and thus you don't want to save it for the minute for badge. So you run insignia instead to have a chance of linking up with more pillars, and this is just really high sustained pressure. So absolutely insignia, regular trinket, and now finally you need your stats, right? Because okay, so the tier set has set stats, and the crafted pieces have set stats. But I can still choose my stats, right, on all the other pieces. Jewelry, weapons, bracers. Okay, so what stats do I want? Frost King, you get good value out of every stat. Versus on every PvP piece, so you do not have to worry about versatility. It's just there by default. It's a great stat, but you don't have to think about it. Mastery, more output. Haste, faster output, faster globals, better rune generation, but more importantly, more ice cap value. And crit also is more ice cap value while giving you KM procs that give you more damage outside of goes. Now, haste does better for that because haste not only does that outside of goes, but it also increases your value inside of goes because haste gives you fast globals to alternate frost strike to generate killing machines from spoiler obliteration, which you will run in every single build without any question at all. So haste is good for the ice cap set. So is crit. Haste is just a little better for it, so you lean towards haste. Mastery, you get another spoiler from Frost Whelps, which means you can kind of split your stats right down the middle between crit and mastery. And what I'm eventually going to have, and this is crazy, is a mixed set. Every piece will probably have a different stat on it. And what's crazy is this is perfect. This is not just like, whatever, fine, that's what we'll do. That's what you want. When we have like late expansion gear, tons of secondary stats to work with, and they finally unnerfed a Death Strike for Frost, and they realize their mistake, and we can stay in, and we can get our auto attacks in, so we can get our KM procs, and get ice cap value, and get our pillar back up, and keep that sustained damage going. You want a split of haste and crit, for the most part, then a little bit of mastery plus a supplementary mastery from Frost Whelps, and the verse is on every piece already. So that's a little bit of every stat, mostly leaning towards haste, and then a little bit of crit, a little bit of mastery, and then verse on every step. Because of this, you really can't go wrong, and that's both weird and good, because if you bought anything now and you're like, oh crap, he's gonna tell me I have all the wrong stuff, I'm not. You're gonna be fine. For example, I have a verse mastery ring for Unholy. Then this ring will change into a verse haste ring when I get conquest. So that's mastery and haste. There's a split right there. Then I'm going to get a crit weapon. So I'm going to have a crit weapon, mastery weapon, crit on tier piece. This is going to have haste and mastery on tier piece. This is going to have crit on tier piece. This is going to have haste and verse and crit tier piece. Then I'm going to get the haste cloak, and I'm going to get a haste necklace for Frost. And that is just, you see what I said? Haste, mastery, crit, haste, mastery, crit, crit, haste, mastery, right? It's a little bit of every stat. This is ideal. Okay, I don't want the comments to be filled with, wait, you didn't give me a stat. Okay, which one's actually better, mastery or crit? I want you to get every stat, because I'm certain that that mixed set of stats will be our win condition. That is what I'm running. That is what I try and do every time I queue up for a solo shuffle. And I'm like, okay, I'm not going to play Unholy today. I'm going to queue Frost. And queue Frost for solo shuffles. How can I get my stats even? That is what I do, because that is how you win. You queue up for a solo shuffle, you don't get to do perfect ghosts. You don't get to play Windwalker DK every time. You don't get to just do a perfect grip, blind, AoE stun, kill them in one global. You have to find a way to get pressure outside of just those goes, because that's when you win. When I play solo shuffle and I'm winning games, I'm doing a pillar go that's getting all their defensives. And then I'm staying in because they're probably going my caster. I play with a lot of Shadow Priests and demos. That's what's very popular in Solo Shuffle. Trust me, queue it, you'll get used to it. I'm staying in. I'm attacking them. I'm frost striking them. I'm obliterating them. Not because it's doing maximum damage. It's getting a little damage on them, getting a little pressure. They're starting to go down. Maybe they press something. Maybe they get a little scared. But because it's building my pillar back up. Then I do that second pillar and they're like, wait, why is this guy doing so much damage? Because they're not used to Frost having another go so soon. I set up these 45-second goes with Chill Streak and AoE stuns and gripping them together. Grip is not a 2-minute cooldown, right? Chill Streak is a 45-second cooldown. Pillar could be a 45-second cooldown. You don't need Limb to do damage anymore, thank God. So that is what I'm trying to do. So I know that was a very long section just to tell you that your best stat is all of them. But if you want an exact setup, it is the 4 tier pieces that I said. Okay, so there's 4 pieces that you have to have. Legs, gloves, chest, shoulders. Those are gonna set out your stats. Boots, PvP crafted boots. Helm, PvP crafted helm. Insignia, well that has haste on it. There's 518 haste that you're gonna get. Probably even more when it scales up. Then mastery ring, haste ring, then a crit weapon, a mastery weapon. Then, if you still don't have enough crit, you feel like you want a little bit more sustain, put in crit haste gems, maybe a crit enchant. But if you're totally fine with it, go haste. Because remember, even after everything that I've said, what I lean toward for the most overall value on Frost is still haste. So the reason I didn't talk about it so much is because of this thing right here. There it is. There's your haste, look. I have 2,000, this is not even scaled up. And I don't even have the other ring on because I was playing Unholy. So watch this. Boom. There's your haste. You get it from Insignia. This thing gives you 600 or so when it's scaled up. So you're gonna have it when you take the pieces that I just talked about. Because remember, these legs give you like haste main stat for tier set as well. So you're gonna have your stats. I know this is, you're looking for the definitive, this is it. It's just a little wild because you're just like, oh, I'm supposed to go haste first, right? Well, what? I don't need any mass. Oh, crit. Why do I need any of these other stats if haste is the best stat? A mixture of stat gives you the highest win conditions in a solo shuffle, maybe even a regular threes environment, unless you're playing exactly Windwalker DK. I will add a note right now. If you're playing exactly Windwalker DK, the two-handed build, and you're copying Mez's strat of playing with perfect players who do perfect goes, or maybe the BlizzCon contender cleave, right? where you do frame perfect goes and you're only trying to win in that entire short window and then you run for a minute, mastery is probably your best stat. Because you don't really need to sustain as much, right? So we can lock it down as if you're looking for the, okay, I don't have any BlizzCon friends and I'm playing lots of different comps and I'm playing a lot of solo shuffle where you don't get to choose your comp. You're gonna run a mixed set. And if you're playing the, I'm gonna one-shot them instantly and there is literally nothing they can do, and if they do something, I'll probably just run for a minute, but then I'm gonna dive back in, then you're all in mastery. There you go. That's how you build Frost. Kind of weird, I know, but too bad. I mean, this Legion Frost was best because of its haste, crit, burst template. I had a lot of those stats. And then it even had some mastery. It got it nerfed because it was actually so broken when it had too much mastery as well. But haste, crit, burst, these great stats for Frost. Fast ice cap, fast damage, get your mastery from Frost Whelps. You're good. And yes, get your tier set. I know I said that 100 times, but Jesus, people just keep asking me, what about the verse? I told you, you're gonna need haste and crit anyway. You got the stats you got in the tier set, and then you also get the tier set effect. That's amazing. Okay, talents. 2, dual wield, two-hander. If you're playing dual wield, Frost Talents are not really even customizable. This entire top section is locked in. The entire pillar package, to me, is locked in. You get Pillar Frost and everything that buffs it. Fast pillar, mastery during pillar, fast pillar, and damage outside of pillar, so you can actually get some pressure in between ice cap goes. This is how you will win the most solo shuffles by far. Frost Reaper is your entire spec. Obliterate damage is good. Obliterate damage is good. And then you have the obliteration package, and obliteration package is just completely locked in. The other two capstones are either just for AoE goes or completely trash. So the obliteration package is going to be a lock-in all the time. It's just giving you all of your damage from pillar. So it's kind of like Frost doesn't really have customization. It's a fun talent build, but it's only got the one for each weapon type. And then you get your second Empower charge, so you can have one pillar with Empower, then another pillar with Empower, then they both come on cooldown. Avalanche gives you Razor Ice AoE, and there's no other way to do that, so this actually helps your cleave damage quite a bit, which is great, because Frost cleaves a bit. And then finally, you get over here, you get the Rhyme Proc Dam, and then you get Chill Streak, and Chill Streak just absolutely hammers. I know people don't like building around it, but don't worry, you still do limitless damage outside of Chill Streak, and if you can just stun 2 people together with a Remorseless Winter of Dead of Winter stun, then Chill Streak is going to hit for like 300k. So yeah, you don't really want to avoid one rune cost for 300k damage. It's the most impactful rune cost you're going to have, and it's only a 45-second cooldown, which pairs perfectly with Short Pillar, which is a big thing that you're trying to do, especially in solo shuffle. So that's the dual wield set right there. The only difference with two-hander is that you need Might of the Frozen Wastes. That loses one talent right there. This is, of course, Might of the Frozen Wastes. That's what gives you two-handed value. If you don't play this, you're not playing two-hander. I mean, this is where any possible value from two-hander comes. Gives you that big oblit damage, and also makes sure that you can finally get some KM procs as two-hander, because remember, you're losing those fast-attacking dual-wield weapons, so they add that second bit, not because it gives you more KM procs than dual-wield, but because it can at least give you now some. So yeah. So you get Might of the Frozen Wastes, and because that loses a talent, what I tend to do is avoid the Chill Streak, and this is great because it's more upfront damage. With more Obliterate damage, with big chunky hits, you can maybe avoid the Chill Streak and just try and nuke one player, and as a result, you could get the Howling Blast deal 60% increased damage to your primary target, right? What does that say? To one player. So if you want to do the big chunky build, you could do Might of the Frozen Wastes, then double Icebreaker, which is already paired with improved Rhyme, to get huge Obliterates. And of course, I still ran Avalanche because, huge Howling Blasts. And then I run Avalanche because it adds even more Howling Blast damage and gives you faster Razor Ice application. That said, this is still missing something. This is missing Shattering Strikes, so the big Frost Strikes, and it's missing Chill Streak. You can run Chill Streak without a buff, and then Shattering Blades, but you're going to need to run Razor Ice. So remember, I told you I was going to talk about Razor Ice versus Fallen Crusader. If you're running two-hander, so let's put that on, and you have Fallen Crusader, your Razor Ice stacks will not apply fast enough with Avalanche to get good shattering value. And when you do Shattering Blade, you're now doing 15% less damage because it'll take you a while to reapply all the Razor Ice. So if you want the Fallen Crusader strength chunkiest possible hits build, you're going to run Fallen Crusader, Avalanche, so you can get Razor Ice. Now you have both Rune Forges, but it's going to take a little while to apply, but it will not fall off because you're not running Shattering. Then you run Icebreaker, so you're going to have Howling Blast damage, which applies Razor Ice. Then you get the Fallen Crusader proc, and you have the huge Oblit, so that's huge Oblit, huge Howling Blast, huge Oblit, huge Howling Blast. Your Frost Strikes, you'll press them, but they're not going to hit that hard. And this is like the chunkiest hits you could possibly get. If you want to have a little bit more diverse toolkit, right, you could do something like this, and then put on Razor Ice. And now you'll still get the big Obliterates. You'll get pretty decently big Rhyme Procs, but not nearly as big. You'll get bigger Frost Strikes now. You can have the bouncing Chill Streak, but you lose Fallen Crusader. So you lose a little bit of modifiers on the Oblit, you lose a lot on your Howling Blast, but you get a massive Frost Strike, and you get that bouncing Chill Streak back, giving you a couple more ways to diversify your offensive toolkit. With a Frost Strike and a Chill Streak, it's different than just only Oblit and only Rhyme Procs. So both of these builds have merit for two-hander. Both of them, you'll see the biggest Obliterates you could possibly see in this entire talent build. This is how you're going to get the largest possible Obliterates. These builds work a lot better for me, and going down Frostworms and Absolute Zero, you can see how important, like, you have to drop 2 more talents to grab Frostworms and Absolute Zero, and I've been under the mindset that just Dead of Winter plus Sustain Goes is just better for me, and that's what I've played in Rated Solo Shuffle, and I'm sure I can take that #1 spot back if I ever queue this spec again, but I've been queuing a lot of Unholy right now. Sorry. I hope they buff Frost. I would play it every day, every second of every day. Just the survivability. Its offensive toolkit is amazing already. Okay, and that's your setup. Super sick. Yeah, you're loving it. Okay. All right, So now we have to talk about the left side. And let's go back to everything here. All right, so the left side, I like, remember my build of choice. I will talk about what I run specifically when I get into the strategies and comps section between dual wield and two-hander. But spoiler alert, my setup of choice is still dual wield. I really enjoy the sustain goes, and ice cap plus dual wield is the fastest you can get pillar back and the most damage you can do outside of pillar. So I really enjoy that playstyle because it works in rated solo shuffle. Like I said, I want to have damage up all the time. And with dual wield, you never swap off on Unholy Bond. You lose some survivability having to go all the way down to Unholy Bond, but you have 3 Rune Forges. You have Razor Ice with 2 applications of it, Fallen Crusader, and you're going to run Spell Warden a lot, and that's the 3rd Rune Forge. 3 Rune Forges all buffed by 20%. Holy cow, it's even good when you're only buffing 1, and when you're buffing 3, it's absolutely tier 1. So yeah, you're always going to run an Unholy Bond, you're always going to run the Empower line, you're always going to run the A-Bomb line, you're always going to run down to Unholy Endurance because it's a 15% wall, and here's something you probably didn't know, Lichborn still gives Leech, 10%, so extending the duration of Lichborn gives you a 15% wall, extends the 15% wall, extends the Leech that you get, which is just healing, and extends the immunities you get to Poly, Hex, Fear, Charm, right, Sleep. Great talent. You get the pet stuff strictly because it gives you Kevin's Oozling effect, 6% more damage and 30% more damage, or 15% less damage from them rather. And you can macro it to your burst, your pillar, and he'll do a little bit of chunk damage himself. So not bad there. As for what's exchangeable, interchangeable, this is fantastic. Let's go through that. So you can grab double chains, short AMS. You can drop Pact for short AMS. You can drop short AMS for short IBF. You can drop short IBF and double chains for zone, maybe AMS, and Gloom Ward if it is a fully magical cleave. All you have to do is look at, okay, what is the enemy team? If you're on solo shuffle, this is perfect. You just do it round by round. Oh, we got the casters on the enemy team. So I want AMS, short AMS, AMZ, Gloom Ward. Oh, okay. It's only physical this time. Well, I got to kite them, so that's double chains, short IBF, right? And some combination of these talents that I'm just talking about right now will get you through this first row because you're always going to run blind, you're always going to run stamina, you're always going to run the pet stuff all the way down to Lichborn. It'll get you through these row, and then you can just lock in the rest of this stuff. Unholy Bond, Rune Mastery, and I took 1 extra talent. There you go. See? Right? So watch, you can just do that. The best way to change them out, by the way, is to take out Unholy Bond, then put them in, right? And then you could take something out, put it in, something like that. So that is what you do. You just choose based on what you're queuing into. There's magical here, physical here. Death Pact I run as Frost because what was I talking about at the beginning of the video? It's squishy as heck, so any answer to just give me a little bit of life. So I have 1 more chance to kill them in solo shuffle. It's helpful because remember, even if you were about to die in solo shuffle, like you were at 10%, but then you had a 40, 50, 60k Frost Strike and you finished them off, you actually win. Even if you were about to die and you would have lost a 2v2, you're about to win. You just win. Because all you have to do is kill 1 player. So Death Pact is a good button for getting you just enough time to kill that last player. And I run it a lot as Frost. And that's all your talents. Okay. Rotation. Rotation. Let's take a look at the dual wield setup here. Very important. Very simple. If you can stay in, and again, if you get a solo shuffle and there's a demo lock on their team and they want to train the demo lock instead of you, you can stay in. This is what you do. Remorseless for the double stun. Start your chill streak up, then pillar, empower, and I have a great macro for that. I'm actually going to show you right now. Let me put it right up on the screen and just copy it. This allows you to spam the empower without using both charges. I know I'm a frequent spam button presser too. Okay, so I used to use both my charges. I had to actually force myself not to just spam the button, and I spammed it anyway. This macro, I'm leaving it right up on the screen. I'm not going to say it out loud. You can see it. Zoom in or something. Can I zoom in on it? Fine, I'll read it out loud. Cast sequence reset equals 5 empower rune weapon dot null. There you go. It works. It does work. I've pressed this button 100 times. Still doesn't go twice. It's really nice. Okay, so anyway, Remorseless to set up your AoE stun. Chill Streak to have it bouncing. Pillar off the global. Empower off the global. Just roll your face across those. And then A-Bomb Limb. Howling Blast, Obliterate. Howling Blast, Obliterate. Frost Strike, Obliterate. Howling Blast, Obliterate. What you want to do is use Rhyme Procs first to generate the KM. So you can utilize those Rhyme Procs and not overwrite them. And then by the time you finish using your Rhyme Procs, you're going to have 5 stacks of Shattering. So you can use your Frost Strike if you're running Shattering Strikes. And then you use a huge Frost Strike. Then you go back, alternate, Obliterate, Frost Strike, Obliterate, Howling Blast, Obliterate, Howling Blast, Obliterate, Frost Strike, Obliterate, Howling Blast, Obliterate. It's just that alternate. If you don't alternate or you press Obliterate 3 times in a row, you're just wasting time. You're wasting globals during Pillar because you should generate a Killing Machine for every single Obliterate. The only time that's going to change is when you get your 4 set and your Obliterate gives you another Killing Machine proc, then you have to Obliterate because you always want to spend Killing Machines during Pillar. Even if it means you're going to overcap on Runic, it doesn't matter. Obliterate is your hardest hitting ability. It's finally Obliteration. We don't lack damage. We just lack the ability to stay in. Then outside of your goes, again, if you're not dying, you just stay in and you use KM procs all the time and you spam Frost Strike to get Ice Cap back up. Again, if you're able to stay in, that means you're not dying, which means you don't have to Death Strike. So just spam Frost Strikes and KM procs to get your Pillar back up because a crit Frost Strike or a guaranteed crit from KM Obliterate will give you fast Pillars because of Ice Cap. And then you'll be able to Pillar and do your whole go again. So what that looks like is Remorse, Limb, Pillar, and Power off the global. You can see it only use 1 charge, and then we just alternate. Obliterate, 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 Obliterate. Yep. Frost Strike, Obliterate. And you get your cooldowns back up. Now you can see 26, 25. If I get a crit ever, lowered it a lot. Get a crit ever, lowered it a lot. Get a crit, lowered it a lot. Now it's coming back up. And then what you want to do then, very important. Once that's, you can see this is where the second charge comes in. Your Empower would not have been off cooldown at all, but your Pillar is. So you can Pillar, second Empower charge. That's what's so good about that. All right. Nuclear damage. You have these big chunky hits all the time. Hopefully they buff us to be as good as Unholy. It has the toolkit. It just needs to be able to stay in. Okay. So now, we go over the PvP talents real quick. Wanted to do the demonstration while the talents were fresh in your head. Dead of Winter is what I just talked about. This is my AoE stun of choice. You need an AoE stun to play Frost, especially to get value out of your Chill Streak, so you run Dead of Winter. It's a 45-second cooldown, just like your Pillar, so you can use Dead of Winter and Pillar at the same time. Necrotic Aura is great because pretty much all your damage is Frost damage, so it's actually better than it is on Unholy, which has a lot of physical damage from pets and stuff, and autos. But Frost is pretty much all magical damage. Necrotic Aura is really good. And Strang is great because you can actually run down healers with a stun, silence combo. So look for that. Remorseless Winter Stun, Asphyxiate Stun, Silence. That's 4 seconds into 2.5 seconds into 4 seconds. That is an enormous amount of lockdown on a healer. And you can easily just set up, you have a Pillar, Grip Blind, swap to the healer, Stun, Silence. That's what I call that. Grip Blind, Stun, Silence. And that's an amazing tool to kill the healer. So Stun, Necro Aura, Strang. This is your most offensive set. But if you need to, drop Necro Aura for Spell Warden if it's double caster, because you'll still be able to survive much better if you run Spell Warden. That's when you're running the short AMS in the big zone. You're also going to run Spell Warden. Okay. Finally, comps, playstyle, that kind of sort of thing, strategies. Your comps that you're going to play, Windwalker DK, like I said, the BlizzCon champion cleave, play perfectly. Grip, leg sweep, most possible damage in that window. Probably run two-hander and mastery set. Most damage in that window. You could also play DHDK and just be the worst version of Unholy DHDK. It hurts. It's heartbreaking, but you could run it. In which case you would probably run Dual Wield because they do 45-second goes. Windwalker does a minute go. So you play the two-hander. And you do stack mastery and you just play all in on that grip sweep go. And then absolute zero out of that. Maybe even a Dead of Winter for a triple DR stun just to make sure they die in that window. DH has 45-second goes with short Chaos Nova and Essence Break. So you'd want dual wield so you could match your pillar with his goes. Dual wield, DH. Two-hander, Windwalker. If you're playing with a Destro, or you could play with a Demo, or you could play with a Shadow Priest. I don't really recommend Shadow Priest, and Holy would probably just be better in every way, but Demo actually might be good with dual wield. You could even maybe do some Fel Lord shenanigans. You could put him grip blind, AoE stun them into a Fel Lord, and then cleave, and then Tyrant, and then nuke, and then chill streak, right? And that you would again want dual wield because they would probably be going your demo lock, which means your uptime would be high. You could stay in, you don't have to run, you can build your ice cap, you can get your fast pillars. He has fast goes, stun into coil, spam fear on the healer. He doesn't want to be waiting for a minute, 2 minutes. He wants to just go, go, go and set up as many goes. He wants as many peels as possible too. So the faster you have damage, the more you can do your peel go with the Remorseless Winter chill streak, right? So dual wield would be good for that. And what I'm trying to say here is when people ask me, Flarkness, two-hander or Frost DK, you just got to pick a comp or a play style and roll with it. If you are a biggest burst possible, two-handed mastery, try and one-shot somebody with Windwalker DK, or you're in solo shuffle and you're just like, heck it, I just want to one-shot somebody, I'm done with this crap, then play two-hander. If you want the sustain goes for solo shuffle and to try and win when they're off balance, 35-second go, ooh, 35, ooh, 35, I don't have defensives. How are you hitting me this hard? Maybe swap to a healer. Maybe you want to play with a caster. Maybe you want to play DHDK. And you don't feel like playing Unholy because you just hate it. So you want to play Frost DHDK and you want to play dual wield Frost DHDK. That would be an answer there. It's not really two-handed versus dual wield. It's kind of what play style do you want? What resonates with you? Then you pick the weapon for that. Again, two-handed is chunky. It's 1 minute Windwalker goes. It's run in there and one-shot somebody. I don't care about a second. I'm one-shotting them. Dual wield is sustain. Casters. Solo shuffle with a bit of a... you're more valuable to the team even if you don't one-shot in the opener, right? If you don't one-shot somebody, then two-hander is kind of sad. But dual wield is like, oh, I'll just kill him in the next go. And then the caster quickly gets their cooldowns back because casters tend to do faster goes. And they CC the healer and you do a good... go like that. Still got blind. You got asphyxiate now into silence. Stun silence on a healer with blind into remorseless winter stun on the DPS. Wow, that's actually a pretty good combo for solo shuffle, right? You have these tools. You have AMS, IBF for immunity, Lichborn for immunity. You still have Trinket, Lichborn, AMS, IBF. That's like the full row of trinkets there. If you need my beginner's guide to DK PvP, that will talk about all this sort of stuff in detail. Again, you have Wraithwalk now. So you've got a Root Break. You've just got a lot of tools. You just need to be able to say them. So we're praying that Blizzard buffs our survivability and realizes that Frost and Unholy are different specs. Blizzard, they're different. Can't nerf them the same. They're not the same. Okay. Hope you guys have a wonderful season. Hope you get it. Legend. You can easily get Solo Shuffle Legend. Go get it. Go after it. If you're a Frost gamer, then play it. Dang it, play it. Go burst people with two-handers, sustain people with dual wield, and get this. Get this title. You're going to love it. Have a great time. I'll see you. I hope you have a perfect season. Peace.